I love Mike Hanson Archives.
You ready to run?
Yeah, you know, I tell you, there's a lot of dangerous people in this country, but we're going to keep you safe from.
You know what I was going to ask you the other day? You know, you always bring up that Reichstag bombing and all that. Do they think about it all happening on April 19th? I don't think they do. It's all. You know what that mask on? I'm not sure I'm talking to Alex Jones.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't worry about us covering up our identity. You know, we're multi-jurisdictional task force, and we're top secret, but, you know...
You know that mask on? I'm not sure I'm talking to Alex Jones.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't worry about us covering up our identity. You know, we're multi-jurisdictional task force, and we're top secret, but, you know, it's to help the children.
Well, of course it is. Hey, man, keep up the good work, and all you listeners out there, if you just turn to this, you're kind of freaked out about it, you need to pay attention, and death to the New World Order.
God bless the Republic! Death to the New World Order!
Now we're dark. Hello, Austin, Texas. Now we are back. Now we were off last week. I want to thank the help
Dave,
down here.
God bless you.
Well, thank you for coming on the Jeff Davis Show, sir.
I appreciate the opportunity. I got to take this thing.
Go ahead.
So you got one of those lavaliers. I don't have anything over here.
Yeah, okay,
But,
that's fine.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you and the viewers here and get some, shall we say, politically incorrect music out.
That's perfectly fine.
The First Amendment is a very, very important right. I think that's probably why the Founding Fathers made it the First Amendment.
Do you have an opinion on my discussion with micros?
Absolutely. The micro station is nothing more than the exercise of free speech.
That's right.
And the simple fact of the matter is that the mainstream press, the networks, and the newspaper conglomerates have done any and everything they can to suppress certain information. Now, I've been working with Joyce for several years now on this Gulf War issue. And for one reason or another, that information has been suppressed. There is lots of information that's been suppressed. As a matter of fact, a little bit later, I'll be playing some of the clips, some of the audio clips from the live broadcasts in Oklahoma City. Now, some of you have probably heard or maybe seen the video by Jerry Longspa. Actually, it wasn't by Jerry Longspa. He was involved in producing it. But the video footage itself is a compilation of news broadcasts that were broadcast live in Oklahoma City on April 19th of 1995. And by the way, Joyce and I are probably going to be up in Oklahoma. And I encourage anybody out there, if you're not going to be at Waco, go to Oklahoma City, because that's where the media is going to be. And if we want to memorialize the people that died not only in Waco and also at the Oklahoma Federal Murrah building, I think that we need to go where the media is going to be. And I personally am going to bring a big old boombox, and I'm going to be playing some of these clips out on the street where the people are gathering. I'm going to hold it up in front of the news cameras, and whether they want to clip it out or not, that's not my concern. My concern is getting the truth out to the people.
Yeah, well, I don't care where the media is going to be, Dave. We are organizing a bus trip. The Jeff Davis Show to go up to Waco, Texas. So we're going to be in Waco, Texas.
I support
April
that.
19th.
I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but I'm just saying Joyce and I have to be in Oklahoma anyway.
Right.
We wouldn't be able to
I'm just saying I wanted to make that.
But no, my concern is, of course, to get the truth out, and whether it be the truth about Oklahoma City, about Waco, about Ruby Ridge, about the Federal Reserve, or about the Gulf War illness. The truth needs to get out, and we're not getting any of the truth from the mainstream press. They're suppressing it, and we're going to prove that in a little while.
Okay, with that, let's go ahead and go to a couple of your songs.
Sure.
And I'm just going to step out of here. We'll put the close-up here on Dave, and right there you are. Good,
okay.
Beautiful shot.
Very good, thank you.
And go ahead and go with it, Dave.
Well, first of all, a lot of folks really don't know too much about me. I suppose they've heard a couple.
Yeah, maybe you better a brief introduction.
Yeah, I've been a musician and a radio talk show host, professional announcer for about 15, 20 years. Like I said, done television, and been a musician for about 25. I happen to be working at a little radio station in Waterbury, Connecticut several years ago, and as many talk show hosts do, I was listening to several different talk shows, one of which was the Chuck Harder program. Some of you may be familiar with Chuck Harder, For the People. Well, I heard a woman by the name of Joyce Riley on there, and I was flabbergasted, to say the least, by her information. So after she gave her phone number, I wrote it down, and later I called her up and spoke with her for some time on the telephone. I then had her on as a guest on the program, and the listeners up there in Connecticut were just blown away. I was blown away. I mean, even after hearing it a second or third time, you still are just shocked by some of this information. Anyway, I had her back on a second and then a third time, and the bottom line is that she ended up coming up to Connecticut, showing her information, and we were very closely aligned in our beliefs. And unfortunately, when you go into this process of discovery that most of us do, we find that we're rejected by our families and by our friends. People say, "Oh, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about." And that's exactly what I was going through. So it was like a breath of fresh air to find somebody that was, like I said, like-minded. So we hit it off and fell in love and decided to get hitched, and that's what we did. So I left Connecticut and came down here to Texas, and now there's two of us the Pentagon have to deal with. So Joyce and I travel around the country doing programs about the Gulf War and trying to get the truth out and get information out to the Gulf War veterans and their families so that they can get treatment and they can get well. So we travel around the American Legions, and we go to VFWs, high schools, churches, synagogues, wherever. Just as long as people would like to hear what the information we provide it free to the Gulf War veterans. We give them free document packages, free videos. All we ask is that they tell us a little bit about themselves. Everybody else, yeah, we do ask a donation to keep this thing going, but for the most part, we travel around the country with this information and presenting it freely in the hopes that someone will listen. And so many have shed many a tear, and when they sit down to cry, they never question or try to find an answer. That's the way it's been for oh so long, and you're so used to it you don't see what's wrong. It's in your history, and if you just look you'll see that it's repeating. When lawyers' litigation goes without examination, you can bet that it won't take very long. With rules and regulation and without representation, pretty soon you'll sing a slavery song. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you were asleep at the wheel, you didn't know it was real. You'll learn the hard way. Get someone to hear when their ears are filled with self-imposed fear. If there's a voice in the crowd that shouts a message out loud, will someone listen? And how can you get someone to see when they can't bring themselves to turn off TV? If someone turns on a light, will others join in the fight or turn a blind eye? When your country's education doesn't teach about your nation, how your family fought so hard to be free, it creates a situation and promotes perpetuation of a people who will live on their knees. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you've been asleep at the wheel, you didn't know it was real. You'll learn the hard way. When your country's education doesn't teach about your nation, how your family fought so hard to be free, it creates a situation and promotes perpetuation of a people who will live on their knees. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you've been asleep at the wheel, you didn't know it was real. You'll learn the hard way. Will someone listen? or turn a blind eye. Okay, that's the title cut of the album that I've produced called "Will Someone Listen?" And it's a plea. It's a request for please, folks, at least listen to the other side. In other words, in order for us to make a decision on anything, on what type of belief you want to have, you need to be able to weigh both sides of information. Now, they say that the truth is never easy to find. Well, let's use some common sense. I know it's very difficult for some folks in public office to use that that atrophied ability that we have, but common sense will tell you that if the truth is never easy to find, how easy is it to sit on your couch and pick up the remote control and click through ABC and CBS and NBC and CNN and Fox and all the other news networks? They serve it all to you on a silver platter. If the truth is not easy to find, and it's that easy for this information to come to you, how true can it be? Let's use common sense here. Now, I know that some of the local broadcasters here, Jeff's been having some problem with shall we say, people with a globalist view. And I'm not opposed to the idea that we as a species have to learn to get along here on this planet. We do have a finite amount of living space here, and we darn well better learn how to live with one another. Whether or not it's going to be with a one-world government, we don't know. I don't know if any man or woman knows what's really going to happen. But I do know one thing. If you take away a people's ability to be free, they will rebel. Sooner or later, they will rebel. And with all this talk about this confrontation with people that are opposing the UN, I'd like to share something with you about the UN that many of you folks may not be aware of. The UN Charter doesn't grant one right to the people. If you get one, for those of you who stick up for the UN and believe in the UN and all that, go get a UN Charter and read it. Okay? Now, the UN Charter was written by Alger Hiss. Okay? He was a known communist. Now, for all the folks out there that still believe in the UN, I want to share something with you. This is the oath of allegiance to the UN. Now, remember, we've all been brought up at some point or another. I think we've all said the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States. You know, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Now, I'm going to read to you the oath of allegiance to the UN Charter, and then I have a song for you. This is the oath of allegiance. I solemnly affirm to exercise in all loyalty, discretion, and conscience the functions entrusted to me as a member of the international service of the United Nations, to discharge those functions and to regulate my conduct with the interest of the United Nations only in view, and not to seek or accept instructions in respect to the performance of my duties from any government or other authority external to the organization of the United Nations. Now, it seems to me the two key points in here is that you're going to accept instructions with the United Nations only in view. That seems to me to be totally repugnant to the oath of allegiance to the United States Constitution, don't you? Seems to me that they cannot coexist, the UN Charter and the United States Constitution. So therefore, those of you who've pledged allegiance to the flag, and yet you're throwing your support behind the UN, you're not pledging your allegiance to the flag anymore, are you? You're turning your back on your country. And for those of you in public office that have taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, you're a traitor, aren't you? Yeah, I think you are. And not too many people understand that. But there is one individual that did understand that. He's from the state of Texas. His name is Michael New. Many of you know who he is. He stood up against the United Nations, or not, shall I say, against an order from a commanding officer saying that he had to wear a uniform with a UN patch, a blue patch. And Michael had been homeschooled, and he knew very well that this type of a uniform was illegal. So he refused to wear it, and they court-martialed him. This song is dedicated to Michael New. young man joined the service, thought he'd do his part. He loved his country under God, was true to his own heart. He knew he'd get an education, discipline, and growth. He had no hesitation when he gave his solemn oath. Yes, he gave a solemn oath. To my God and country, from now until the end, it's the Constitution I swear I will defend. Foreign or domestic, these last three words ring true. I'm defending my country. My name is Michael New. Yes, my name is Michael New. In uniform across the sea, on soil in foreign lands, with dedication, honesty, keen eyes and steady hands, fulfilling every duty with patriotic love, until the day an order came from officers above. From his officers above. The color of the Army is a military green, but the uniform they gave to him was like one he'd never seen. The shoulder bore a UN patch, a distinctive shade of blue. No oath to a charter, to my country I'll be true. To my country I'll be true. To my God and country, from now until the end, it's the Constitution I swear I will defend. Foreign or domestic, these last three words ring true. I'm defending my country. My name is Michael New. Yes, my name is Michael New. On Tuesday morn, October 10th, inspection of the men by Finland's General Ingstrom. He had to look again. Those traitorous eyes of officers stared down at Michael New, a single patch of green in an endless sea of blue. He was a single patch of green in an endless sea of blue. To my God and country, from now until the end, it's the Constitution I swear I will defend. Foreign or domestic, that final word rings true. Yes, I'll defend my country. My name is Michael New. To our God and country, from now until the end, it's the Constitution we swear we will defend. Foreign or domestic, that final word rings true. Yes, we'll defend our country just like Michael New. America is watching, all eyes on Michael New. You set a fine example. God bless you. Michael New. The Ballad of Michael New. Let me just do a quick one of these things here. There it is. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's the Ballad of Michael New. Yeah, politically incorrect music. They can't play this on your top 40 stations. I wonder why. Anyway, you know, the thing is, I know Jeff takes a lot of flack. I was saying that before that last song. And also Alex takes some flack. Keith has been taking flack. Anybody that speaks out against the establishment gets to take flack. I wonder why. Well, maybe the truth hurts. And I know that there's some folks out there that feel that their toes are being stepped on. But please understand, for the most part, the folks that are trying to get across this type of information, we're not coming at you with a clenched fist. We're coming at you with an open hand. We simply want people to understand what the truth is. Now, I want to share with you a little piece of truth. Now, we've all been following in the news all this stuff about the Oklahoma City trial, the Oklahoma City bombing, and there's all this talk about conspiracy theories. There's conspiracy theories about Waco. There's conspiracy theories about Ruby Ridge, and conspiracy theories about Gulf War illness, and conspiracy theories about the Oklahoma City bombing. Well, what is a theory, folks? A conspiracy theory is a theory until it's proven. The active word is theory. So if you have evidence, and if you have documentation, and if you have testimony that proves the conspiracy, it's no longer a theory, is it? No, it is in fact a conspiracy. Now, I'd like to share with you, I mentioned a couple minutes ago, the live clippings that were broadcast in Oklahoma City the day of the bombing, the first couple of hours. Now, one of these clips is the voice of Governor Frank Keating. And now I'm going to play the clips, and I'll let you decide for yourself whether or not we're talking a conspiracy theory or whether, in fact, we have a conspiracy. We don't have this plugged directly in, so I'm just going to hold this over here so you can hear it. And here we go.
I think he said another bomb.
Oh my God, another bomb.
Now confirmed through federal authorities that a second bomb has been found inside that federal building in Oklahoma City. It was an explosion at 9 o'clock this morning that did that damage you're looking at right there, blowing off the entire north face of that building. Again, you're looking at the north face there. A second bomb was found on the east side of that building. A bomb squad is on the scene. That second bomb has not exploded. We don't know quite the status yet, if they've managed to defuse it, but it has been confirmed that a second bomb was found on the east side of that building. And
Well, I just took a look down the street at the Morrow building again. I see another bomb truck going, so apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb that's been talked about. Still a lot of activity around the Morrow building. Security concerns that another one still might go off. That's what everybody's worried about.
At the present time, the medical teams downtown are unable to get into the wreckage to retrieve more of the injured because of the presence of other bombs in the area. I've been told by the police department that just as soon as those bombs are defused, they will permit the medical teams to enter. Then once the medical teams enter, we expect quite a large number of rather badly injured individuals being brought here.
Yeah, Mike, hang with us just for a second. We want to update our audience that the Justice Department is reporting that a second explosive device has been found in the AP Murrah building in downtown Oklahoma City. Mike, you're still with us, aren't you?
Yes, I am, and I might tell you in addition to that, in fact what we were told at the scene a few minutes ago was that in fact two different explosive devices were found in addition to the one that went off.
So a total of three.
A total of three, and of course then there was mass confusion whenever there were hundreds of spectators in the area, and when they heard that there were other bombs in the building, people were running from the area in the opposite direction as fast as they could, trying to evacuate again.
The first bomb that was in the federal building did go off. It did the damage that you see right there. The second explosive was found and diffused. The third explosive that was found, and they are working on right now as we speak, I understand, both the second and third explosives, if you can imagine this, were larger than the first.
The reports I have is that one device was
Frank Keating.
Deactivated. Apparently there's another device, and obviously whatever did the damage to the Murrah building was a tremendous, very sophisticated explosive device.
So President Clinton just called Frank Keating, Governor Frank Keating, and he says that 3 FBI anti-terrorist teams are en route to Oklahoma City. Right now they are saying that this is the work of a sophisticated group. This is a very sophisticated device, and it has to have been done by an explosives expert.
But it was a great stroke of luck that we actually have got diffused bombs. It's through the bomb material that we will be able to track down who committed this atrocity. All right, Dr. Randall Heather, a terrorism expert, we appreciate your time and your thoughts today, and I assume that we will be speaking with you again here in the hours and days to come.
Okay. Well, folks, you've heard it said before. If it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, must be a duck. Now, you've just heard clips from the Oklahoma television stations that were broadcast live. Now, for those of you out there that think that there's an Oklahoma conspiracy theory out there and that there is no cover-up, How do you explain this discussion about not only the discovery of a second bomb, but the discovery of a third bomb? How do you explain the fact that they had reported that they had confirmed that they had retrieved a second bomb and identified it as a very sophisticated military device, and that this had to be done by a very sophisticated group of individuals? This is not the work of somebody that you could say had access to just a bunch of fertilizer and some kerosene. I'm not saying that Timothy McVeigh wasn't involved, but I would think that it leads us to believe that there's a lot more to this story than the media is letting on. And that leads us to the question, can we really trust our media? Can we really trust them? I got a song that I'd like to dedicate to these guys, and let's see if I can cue it up here without getting it all mixed up. This one is going out to all the folks. There are many people asking questions. There are many people asking why. There are many people paying attention. There are many now who see the big lie. There are many folks who want to get busy, and your greatest fear is they'll organize. And you'll notice that it's starting to happen. You've betrayed their trust, they now realize. The line's been crossed in the sand, and the fire's been fanned. All the people demand to hear the plot that you've planned. You won't be trusted anymore. It's too late for you to tell us you're sorry. You passed that point a long time ago. 'Cause perpetuating lies and deception is the only thing that you seem to know. And you thought that you'd be safe in your tower, insulated from the people below. But the truth has undermined your foundation by so many people now in the know. You thought that you'd see the day that you could just get away from the ones you've betrayed, who've raised their voices to say you won't be trusted anymore. Wow! Yeah. I can't help but think of Tom Brokaw, NBC News. News you can trust. I don't think so. Tom, what's his name? Dan Rather? I'd rather not. CNN? I didn't see anything on CNN. We can't wait for you to start to get honest. We can't wait for you to start to be true. We can't wait for you to finally discover that the things you did can be done to you. We can't wait to see the table is turning, forcing you to see the things that you've done. We can't wait for you to face the music, understanding that there's no place to run. See the faces turn white as the people unite. Watch the roaches take flight as you turn on the light. You won't be trusted anymore. No, 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 you won't be trusted anymore. No, no, you won't be trusted. Yeah, what's that saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. How many times are you going to get fooled? How long is it going to take before we finally wake up and realize the house is on fire and we darn well better cooperate, form a bucket brigade, and put the fire out? And so many people out there don't think twice about sitting at home having a big old Super Bowl party. They wouldn't think twice. $100 for a pair of Super Bowl tickets, most of you would jump on that. And even if your expenses weren't paid, if you had $100 for a pair of Super Bowl tickets, you'd been out in San Diego. That's where it was, San Diego? In a heartbeat.
I guess,
yeah. Well, how much money would that have cost, and how much is your freedom worth? Folks, that's only a game. It's a game. And we're playing with fire here. I mean, we're trying to save a country. We're watching it get flushed. We're watching it getting flushed right down the old hopper. And most people are more concerned with catching the World Federation wrestlers in the New World Order.
Yeah.
Can't believe that.
They
anyway,
actually have a team called that.
I know they do. That's why.
Wow.
See, the thing is, the way they do that, Jeff. See, they know that people like us are out here talking about the New World Order. They want to make us look stupid, you know.
Oh yeah.
Make us look. You know, I think there's somebody in Washington right now looks pretty stupid. Hey, Chickie, baby, remember me? I used to be the press.
Hey, these guys are some slick bastards, man.
No.
They'll come up with all kinds of schemes.
I know. It's terrible. It's terrible. But I appreciate your letting me roll on here for a little while and playing a few of these songs.
Well, you could play a couple more, though. Particularly my favorite.
Oh, I know which one you want. We're gonna save that one. We'll lock and load and put that one on hold for a little bit. I wanted to give folks a good reason to be able to appreciate a song like what's coming up. But and I think most of the watchers of this program can appreciate a song about the Second Amendment. But anyway.
Oh yeah, Mother. This is a very educated viewing audience.
I know they are,
and it's huge. So
that's great. My hat's off to you.
Thank you. Well, there's several of us here, as you know, Joyce. I want to welcome to the program now. We had Joyce on about 6 weeks or so back. Joyce Riley. Joyce, welcome to the Jeff Davis Show, dear.
My pleasure again.
You have your mic on, and you're all ready to go.
I hope we're all set.
What did you have an opening comment, or maybe about Dave, or just?
Well, I want to say that as far as my life, it totally changed when Dave came along, and I am so grateful that he has been there. You know, he's written these songs on the issues that really count. Like he donated the Michael New song to the Michael New Defense Fund. He donated it to him, gave it to him, said use it as you can. The same with the Gulf War song that he has written, and I just admire that kind of talent. And the fact that he now takes his talents and puts it toward trying to save this country, as opposed to going out and serving or singing in bars and doing what he used to do, doing weddings and whatever else. He's done some other things. You've done some soundtracks, haven't you, Dave?
Yeah, there's some sing-along companies out there. They produce music for karaoke bars and stuff like that, and did some soundtracks for remakes of things like Sunset Boulevard and The Lion King. No,
he's done some really incredible music, but I'm just grateful that he's now working with me on this. And when he's here singing, that's his thing. You know, Gulf War is my thing. He helps me with that. The Gulf War illness, the cover-up of the Gulf War illness is by far the most significant problem this country faces today. I mean, there is nothing any more significant. Unfortunately, I mean, it overrides even what is happening to Bill Clinton right now today.
Yeah, I think most things do. I think, to me, that's just a bread and circus act.
It is.
Sure it is.
It's like that movie Wag the Dog in reality, only they've switched it around. I mean, think about it, folks. Those of you who've seen Wag the Dog, I mean, it is so amazing, the parallels of what's going on right now in Washington as to what happens in this movie. In the movie, what is it? The president has an affair or is involved in some sort of a sexual activity or something like that. So to divert attention away from it, they create a war, a fictitious war. Well, in this case, we could very well be at war with Saddam Hussein. I mean, Lord knows they're pushing it hard enough.
That's right. That's right.
And we are, as a matter of fact, most of the listeners may not be aware, we are technically and officially still at war and have been since August 2nd of 1990. We're going on 8 years of war, folks, and people don't know about it.
That's right. Public Law 102-25 started the war, and it said that it would end by presidential proclamation. It has not ended. And that's why on the eve of Thanksgiving, when we were almost at war with Saddam Hussein, he let the Congress go. And people were saying, well, why? You know, we almost have a war starting. We're already at war. All they need is executive orders.
Well, we're definitely at war, but I think it's a silent kind of war, in my opinion. But Joyce, go ahead and give the if you will, the list of the viewers. We've got a full stack of calls, and we promised we were going to take some calls. But I want you to at least get some of your information out here.
Okay. Let me just start by saying that the United States government the Department of Defense, the CIA, the DIA have been involved in a cover-up that is beyond what most people can even conceive of. And what we're looking at right now is the worst story not of the 20th century, but of America's history. And here's what I want to say to everybody out there is, what I'm going to tell you is that we have a communicable disease. We have a disease that's spreading into the general population. It's called fibromyalgia. It's called chronic fatigue. It starts in those fashion. We have a disease that's spreading into the general population that is a tremendously debilitating disease. We have 6 million fibromyalgia patients since 1991 because most people never even heard about the disease, including myself, before 1991. And I've been a nurse for 25 years. So what I'm going to tell you are the most serious accusations anyone, anywhere is making against the U.S. government. That is essentially that it is military genocide. And I have no problem saying that at all, because what we are seeing now is the intentional desire not to treat our military that are ill and transferring the disease into the general population. Now, here's what is important. Is, you see, the Pentagon has been telling you for the past 6-7 years, there is no Gulf War illness, it's stress-related, there were no chemical exposures, there were no biological exposures. And then in 1996, they started changing their story and saying, oops, we found some information in the back of the Pentagon that was misfiled, and that changes our story. Well, the Pentagon has been changing their story almost every week. Now, here is the very serious allegation I am making, that either the Pentagon is lying or I am lying. But we both cannot be telling the truth, because there can be a million lies. There is only one truth. Now, I am saying that the Pentagon has covered up deaths of our military, covered up illnesses attributed to Gulf War, and the diseases that are now in the general population, including a blood supply that is unsafe. Now, either I am right or the Pentagon is right, but we both cannot be telling the truth. And here's what I would ask all your listeners, is here's what frightens me. What if I am telling the truth? What if the Pentagon, in fact, has been covering up a disease and allowing it to spread for 7 years? What if the blood supply is unsafe? What if there is a disease wreaking havoc in our military? Well, I would advise you to start doing some searching and finding out if I'm telling you the truth or if the Pentagon is telling you the truth. And I would encourage you to get some of the documents that support this. There's government documents available if you'll just get into them and find out. But most of them have been taken off the government printing office list. So now, is this disease now taking down our military? 90% of the Gulf War veterans are now out of the military that served in Desert Storm. Now ask yourself why, during a all-volunteer military, would 90% get out after a war? They didn't choose to get out. They got out because they were forced into getting out. Colin Powell said there would be a 25% downsizing, not a 90% downsizing. If what I say is true and our military is sick, the disease is not going to stop. The Veterans Administration right now will not treat them in the VA hospitals. Why? There is no Gulf War illness. You can't treat a disease that doesn't exist. So our troops that were willing to die on foreign soil, that were willing to give their lives for this country, that at that time, just like I, believed that the military was the right thing to do. We believed that military service was serving our country. I now know it's a different story. I now know the truth, but I didn't then. And if these people that were willing to suffer and die have come back here with a disease, it's about time that we declare a national emergency and look at it. Where's the CDC? Because you see, we have over 200,000 that are now ill, according to our estimations, the people that have contacted the American Gulf War Veterans Association. In 1993, they did a survey and an interview and found out that 77% of the spouses of Gulf War veterans had gotten the disease, and 66% of their children. Oh, CDC didn't tell you that. The Journal of the AMA didn't tell you that. The World Health Organization didn't tell you that. Why have you not been told the blood supply is unsafe? They cannot test or are not testing for the disease that Gulf War veterans have. Now, we know this to be true. We know Gulf War veterans are going into blood donation centers. We know they're donating. And as one Gulf War veteran in Anchorage, Alaska said when she went in, she said, I have the Gulf War illness and I have chronic fatigue. And they said, well, you will be more tired than the average donor then. I wonder how many people got a disease as a result of the Gulf War veterans donating. The blood supply is unsafe. Now, either I need to be stopped from what I am saying, and by the way, silence is consent for those people that know what I am saying right now. Silence is consent if you are in the military and you know this disease is real and you're helping to cover it up. Silence is consent if you are a physician within the VA system or the DOD system, because it takes complicity among all of those organizations to keep the information from the American people. Yes, careers are at stake. Do I care? No way. Because you see, although I am willing to sacrifice my career or my life for the Gulf War veterans, I will tell you there is no job in this country, no job in this world that is more important than the life of one of our veterans that was willing to die for you and for me. So either we become active and we force the Pentagon to tell the truth, because right now we are almost 2 weeks away from a war with Saddam Hussein. USA Today said they're going to give Saddam Hussein 2 more weeks, and if he doesn't respond, it's going to be military intervention. Now that's a threat. Are we going to trust the same Department of Defense that has lied to us for the past 6 years, 7 years? Are we going to trust that same Department of Defense, William Cohen, to take us into battle? Do we need to go to battle? Or are we poking Saddam Hussein with a stick? No, I don't side with Saddam Hussein. But right now, I don't even side with our own Department of Defense. Because you see, our people have been lied to. The CNN agenda has absolutely crippled the minds of the American people. They don't see the deaths attributed to Gulf War illness. And I can only say at this point in time that I will do whatever it takes as long as it takes, because you, the Gulf War veteran, you, the person that loves this country, are worth it. And I don't want to see a plague. I don't want to see Revelation 6:8. But I'm afraid we're going to. And one issue I think that needs to be dealt with is that of biological terrorism, and I think that we have that problem that is about to happen. And according to the Regal report, Senate Report 103-900, I must tell you that the United States government knowingly armed Saddam Hussein with the weapons of mass destruction that Bill Clinton is so worried about right now. If you want to see it yourself, get 103-900. The media came out to our house in Houston, and I showed them, Channel 11, I showed them the evidence that the United States government sold to Saddam Hussein anthrax and botulinum. And the reporter said, I'm going to go back and tell the story. We need to put that on the air. I said, you won't be allowed to. 4 reporters have been out here from Channel 11, and none of them were allowed. It's your choice. You can believe the television sets, you can believe the media, or you can believe the alternative media, programs like this, that try their hardest to get you the truth. Because again, either the Pentagon is telling the truth or I am. And I would simply say to you, I've not changed my story once in 3 years. The Pentagon has changed their story almost on a weekly basis. You must understand that our country is in peril. Our country is fighting for its very existence right now. What we're looking at is more serious than anything that I could have ever imagined. It is not just a disease, but it's a mindset. It's a mindset that says we couldn't do that to our own people. For the past 50 years, we have been experimenting on our own military and our own citizens. I want it stopped. I want treatment for our Gulf War veterans. I want the guinea pig mentality to stop in this country. We are not your guinea pigs.
Very good, Joyce. One thing I want to mention now, we just finished a lively seminar yesterday where you were the guest speaker. And I want to mention next month, folks, February 22nd, Branch Davidians from Waco are coming down. Bonnie Haldeman, David Koresh's mother, Clive Doyle, Sheila Martin, Catherine Madison. I know a lot of people know who these people are. You've heard both pro and con. If you've watched this show, you've heard mostly pro. But they will be down here in Austin for the next seminar. And I really believe that it needs to be one of the biggest we've had to get to keep them moving. Joyce, you did a fantastic job. There was, I'd say, coming in and out, there are at least a couple hundred people at any given time.
Well, I want to say that I am so impressed. I wish Houston had what you have here. I mean, number one, this show, the Jeff Davis show, I wish you would syndicate to Houston. Number two, I wish we had Alex's radio show in Houston. We have no Truth Radio in Houston any longer whatsoever. And number three, I wish we had Wes's seminars. The Texas Best seminars are incredible. I mean, anybody anybody can come out and check you guys out if you want to see the evidence, if you want to see if it's true. See the other side.
Open to the public.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what was so good was after the seminar, there was one person there that disagreed with me. And they put him on stage and said, if you disagree, debate it with her. And I think that's incredible because you see the other side doesn't bring on the adversary.
No,
the other side doesn't.
Never.
That's right.
Never.
They don't bring me on CNN and say, if you have something to say about Gulf War illness, prove it. No way.
It's real easy because if you're a liar and you've got somebody who can prove that you're a liar, the liar's not going to want to give you a forum. However, if you've got the truth and you know that these people are lying, it's easy to say, come up and prove me wrong. Prove that I'm not telling the truth.
That's right.
So again, common sense, folks. If they can't destroy the message, they've got to go after the messenger, and that's exactly what happens. So next time you hear somebody pointing a finger and saying, "Hey, this person's a conspiracy theorist," or "This person's a right winger," or "This one's an extremist," or "This one is a hate monger," or part of a hate group, look at the people who are pointing the finger. Look at those people and find out. Ask yourself, do they have an agenda? And do they have a reason that that they want that information suppressed? I think you'll find the answer if you look.
Go ahead, Joy.
I was going to say, I admire Roan for coming last night and for coming up on the stage and for addressing the issues that he did, that he disagreed with me on. I really respect that. I respect probably more so the forum that you all have that says, if you have something to say about this, go for it. And that's what it's all about, is getting the truth out. The truth is going to win. Do I worry that somebody's going to disprove me? No. Do I wish they would? Absolutely, I do.
You don't want to believe all this.
Absolutely.
No, I wish it wasn't true. But the more you look, the more confirmation you get. And I'm sorry to say that it is true. It's real.
Absolutely. Can Dave sing the Gulf War song, or do we have time for that?
No, we're going to do. He's going to sing a couple more songs. One thing I wanted to mention that 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, we had none of this. So we've come a long way here in Central Texas of getting this movement going.
Oh, but the incredible work that people do here. Mike, the producer of this program, the cameraman,
That's my wife there.
Oh, that's not a cameraman, that's my wife. Well, these people are incredible for giving their time to come down here and do nothing but tell the truth.
Yeah.
We have no agenda. I know you get paid big bucks. I've heard that, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're doing this program.
Yeah. Big bucks,
And but you know, that's what I admire so much is, hey, we love this country. We love these people. We're not power mongers. You know, we don't want to control things. We just want the truth known.
Yeah.
Well, you know, good people don't lust for power and money. So who has all the power and money? The bad people.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, that's only because the good people have been so, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say complacent, but they're just so permissive. They let folks, you know, run rampant all over them. It's got to stop, folks. The good people are going to have to start standing up for what is right. Because if you don't stand up, you're going to end up laying down. And I'm sorry, but one of our founding fathers said that I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees. That's a decision that we just might have to make someday soon.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, one thing while I got you here, what's your feeling on the micros? Because it's going to become an issue, I guarantee it.
On the micro radio broadcasting? Oh, I think they're great. I think we're going to be forced into that because that's the only place we can get truth radio out.
That's right.
But then again, the other side's going to become more aggressive.
Oh, they're going to have to.
Yeah.
They're going to have to stop this because, like Keith, when what he puts on the air, he's willing to let me put whatever I say about Gulf War illness on the air, because as long, you know, I mean, he doesn't want anything uncredible on there, obviously.
Right. That's very important.
And he wants me to tell the truth. And we have to have this forum. Otherwise, you, the American, unfortunately, guinea pig, is going to have to sit there and listen to CNN agenda news media that is going to fill your head with what they want you to believe. Let me just say that Marlon Fitzwater the other day was on one of the agenda news programs, you know, the Reliable Experts, which is such a joke.
Yeah.
And Reliable
let me say
Agenda.
Something about that. Isn't it funny how a lot of people, you know, a lot of the people that challenge me and people like me, they'll say, document this, document that, document. They're not asking the other side to document anything.
Oh, no.
They're just faithfully.
That's right.
Faithfully just going swallowing. You know, they don't even. They're not even questioning anything. They just react to what they're.
Really?
They don't prove anything.
When's the last time you saw a Time magazine with footnotes?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
funny
A
how that
reliable
works,
Pentagon source said.
there you go.
Funny how that works.
That's right.
Yeah.
But we have to prove everything.
We have to document everything.
That's
but
right.
The other side.
It's real important, especially within this movement, because there are people that want to bring down this Patriot movement. That's what they're calling it. People want to bring it down big time, and this is why it is so important for all the folks out there that understand what we're saying and the points that we're trying to make. It's very important to document and to prove what you're saying. If you get a fax and you go, oh wow, and you put it out there and you refax it onto the fax tree, you better think a little bit, because there are folks out there that want bad information out there.
That's exactly
so they'll
right.
generate some weird fabricated story, and then when we out there don't discern between what's real and what isn't real, and we parrot that information, we dilute and destroy our own credibility. So it's very important that before you go off and believing stories about Iraqi women smuggling in biologicals in their body cavities or something
UN
like
troops here or something.
That's right.
I've been hearing this for a long time.
And some of the stories about me I find fascinating. I have been labeled a Mossad agent. I supposedly wrote a book called Nurse Riley Speaks, the story of the Israeli Mossad. And that was interesting because I didn't even know how to spell Mossad at the time. I didn't even know what it was. And so I called the people that wrote this newspaper article and I said, I'd like to get that book about Joyce Riley. And they said, well, you'll have to get it from her. And I said, well, we got one problem, I'm her. And I didn't write any book. And and they said, their statement was, can you prove you didn't write a book? Now that is, it's incredible what people will put out there.
Let me just say this too on those lines.
By the way,
I'm the first one to admit that I'm very careful in what I say and what I do, but we have to come to the realization that we've all at some point have thrown out some misinformation. The enemy throws out misinformation just to try to get us
about 99%.
But that's one thing. But the thing that a lot of people don't do is that they don't take the time to realize that the information that a lot of them get their information from, they're not checking them out, or they're not saying. For example, I think it's this Hillary or this Clinton thing. To me, it's just another bread and circus deal. You can compare it to O.J. and Marv Albert. Issues of absolutely no significance.
That's right.
And they just react to that. They don't think that, hey, maybe there's something more important going on in this world than these issues. But if you notice, a lot of people they just react to these things. So I for one have become very intolerant of ignorance, and I also to the point where I like to document a lot of things I say. But if somebody doesn't want to believe me, forget it. They can just go on and stay dumb as far as I'm concerned.
Do you remember what the media blitz was when the Oklahoma City bombing occurred? Do you remember what the big story was? They started pumping this thing like crazy to distract the attention away from Oklahoma. Do you remember what it was? The O.J. Simpson trial. We listened to that trial stuff for, what was it, almost a year and a half?
I'll give you a classic example of deception, what's going on in this world right now. This is so powerful. During the Oklahoma City deal, if you can remember, for weeks, they showed all these children. They showed that fireman with that little baby in his hands and all. Yes. For weeks, they drummed these kids that got, that got destroyed in this bombing. How many pictures on the national news did we see of those burned children at Waco, Texas?
That's right. That's right. Who could even remember how many children there were there?
You never saw that going on for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
That's right. And
it's just subtle deception that a lot of people just aren't.
But anyway, perception management.
Yeah. I call it manufacturing consent. All right, let's try a call real quick here. You're on the air, caller. Hello. Okay. Just real quick, because I got to let Dave go a couple more rounds here. And
I don't know. I hope that is this is sort of an unorthodox show for you?
No, it's going just fine. I love it.
Do you usually have music like this?
No, and I love it too. I really do.
But
if I didn't like
politically incorrect music, you allow that on this show?
If you want me to
I think
go,
it's spicing things up, man.
If you want me to leave, I'll go.
You're on the air, caller. No, Dave, we're gonna do it. You got what? At least one or two more.
Okay, cool.
But we are running out of time, so I want to give these callers just a chance to say.
All right.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Hi. Hello?
Technical difficulty.
Go to the next one. They've been holding so long they might
fallen asleep.
Yeah, or
no, not with this show. I don't think they
could
possibly fall asleep.
Forget them. Go on to the next one.
Hold on one second. We're getting some difficulties right now.
All right, they got technical difficulties.
Okay, yeah, let's go to the song then.
All right.
Okay, Dave, go ahead. We'll be back. Stay on the line, folks, with Joyce Riley.
I just want to say, to bring this song in, this song was sung into the federal record. And the reason that I am so proud of this is because when I testified before the Presidential Advisory Commission, and by the way, I had never met Dave when he wrote this song. But when I testified, I had 2 minutes to say, this is the worst cover-up of America's history. We're going to prove that it is a cover-up, and biologicals and chemicals were used, etc. Then I turned it over to Dave, and I wanted him to sing this song so it would go into the federal record, which it did, with this big presidential seal in the background and the whole 9 yards and all these nervous CIA agents, Secret Service agents that were there. And understand that when you hear this song, this got written in the federal record with the names in it, too.
Well, let's go with it.
Okay, well, first of all, I know there are probably a few veterans out there that are hearing this song for the first time, and maybe even a couple of Gulf War veterans, and I want to apologize because some of this information is very difficult to accept. But I want to dedicate this song to not just the Gulf War veterans, but to all the veterans that were wronged from the decades and decades of experiments.
Let me just say this, Dave. Before we do this, we may have to just can the calls for tonight. So let's just go ahead. Go ahead, Dave. Take it away.
This song is for all the Gulf War veterans.
Okay.
Climbed aboard a 130, flying so far away. By the time we're unloading, it'll be the next day. Got a job for my country, Saddam's invasion to foil, protecting all the Kuwaitis and the free flow of oil. Tell us dangerous days are ahead. There will be weapons used that we'll never see. And so for my own protection, they're gonna give me pills and then inoculate me. Whoa, I'm here to follow my orders and stop this madman Hussein. They tell me he'll use germ warfare, and anyone who would must be completely insane. While the flyboys run sorties, I'm putting on protective clothing from head to toe. My Uncle Sam will protect me because we stand for truth and honor, that's what I know. Whoa. A celebration of victory. Congratulations by phone. Returning home on a transport, and yellow ribbons are shown. People say I'm a hero, people shaking my hands. My family throws me a party, balloons and rock and roll bands. Yeah, yeah. But nowadays I feel tired, and at night I perspire. I've always got this damned headache. My eyes feel like they are always on fire. Got this rash on my body, and I notice that it's growing bigger each day. I'm always sick to my stomach. There's no satisfaction living day to day. No. My wife said we'd have a baby, and when I found out I smiled. The happiest time in my life, to find I'd father a child. I'm decorating the nursery, I feel like tooting my horn. And on that blessed morning, my little boy was stillborn. No, no, no! They say it's psychosomatic. They say it's all in my head. I tried to contact my buddies. Several of them are dead. I looked for help from the VA. I got the big run around. I'm always looking for answers, but only question after question is found. No, George Bush, Jim Baker, Brent Scowcroft, where do you fit in the scene? You claim you're out of the loop, but I have got suspicions that your hands are not clean. Now General Schwarzkopf gives lectures, and Colin Powell signs his book. If there's a chance you were paid off, I wonder how much it took. No. Tuned in a radio broadcast, and Captain Riley was there. Reports from Senator Regal showed me there's people who care. I thank the Nicholson doctors for helping show us a way. There's guys on doxycycline getting treatment each day. Yes, yes. Overseas, it's the front page. British regimental troops are dropping like flies. And the American networks are all ignoring international cries. I don't know where this is going. I don't know where this will end. But now I'm on medication. My strength's returning, and again I'll defend. Apparent forces at work from within will expose them one by one, name by name. With the hell that we've been through, if there is any justice, they will suffer the same. Yes, don't turn your back on your veterans. They're only seeking what is honest and fair. Where are all those yellow ribbons? I wonder where are all those voices that care? Veterans. I wish I hadn't written that song. I really do. I wish there was never a reason to have written a song like that. But unfortunately, there is a reason. There are many reasons. And if we only look, we'll see them. Now, Joyce and I have a motto. Our motto is, we will not stop. Because our troops are our defense. They are the ones that are the safeguards of freedom. They have taken the oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And there are domestic enemies, and they don't want you to know who they are. So, if we're to find out who they are, we have to look. And we're not going to find them by flipping the dial and looking for reruns of Seinfeld or World Federation Wrestling or our favorite country and western videos. We're going to have to go to the libraries. We're going to have to seek out radio shows like Jeff's and Alex's. We're going to have to seek out alternative sources of information, because it has become very painfully obvious that the television networks and the conglomerates that control the newspapers and the press are not doing their job. They are part of the problem. It's in our hands now, folks. We darn well better make a decision, get off the fence, because time is short.
I agree with that. Okay, let's go ahead to the one that my favorite. Let's go ahead and hit it. Get it rocking in here now, Dave.
Okay, now this one here, okay, this one.
Now this is my favorite of the bunch. The ones I've heard.
Okay, he's got a call. Go
no,
ahead.
let's go. All right, go ahead and take quick. Just quickly.
Oh yeah, it'll have to be quick because we only got a couple.
Hello.
Hello.
You're on the Jeff Davis show.
Can't get them working.
All right.
Okay, we're just gonna go ahead. Yeah, just can it. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
All right.
What's the name of what's this one's title?
This one's called "You Can Take My Gun from My Cold Dead Hands." See, the folks out there that do understand what's going on, they understand what the Constitution said, and they understand why the Founding Fathers put the Second Amendment there. Thomas Jefferson said that the reason for the Second Amendment is for one reason and one reason alone, is to allow the people to protect themselves from tyranny and government. And you need only look for a little while and you'll see that tyranny. So this is for all the folks out there that are involved in one way or the other in the debate of the Second Amendment. Listen up. There are problems in our country. Yes, we live in troubled times. There are far too many criminals and far too many crimes. I'm locking every window and I'm bolting every door. The tool I use in self-defense will even up the score. You can rant, you can rave, you can make your demands, and you can take my gun from my cold, dead hands. There are global corporations, they have billions that they pay to the greedy politicians who make sure things go their way. They tax us into poverty and we live from day to day. To them we're useless eaters, we don't get to have a say. You want to trash this Constitution? Is that what's in your plan? You can take my gun from my cold dead hand. In every case through history, when genocide was planned, the firearms were gathered up and the opposition banned. The tyrants made distractions and the people looked away. And by the time they realized they couldn't get away, the smiling face on my TV says we should all join hands and help create this vision of a new world order plan. We'll downsize our defenses, give our bases all away to a UN global peace force, and we'll do just what they say. Take your globalist agenda and your new world order plans, and you can take my gun from my cold dead hand. Named Thomas Jefferson said there would come a day when government would try to lead the people all astray, confusing and abusing, slowly stripping rights away. To protect yourself from tyranny, there can only be one way. What part of uninfringed do you not understand? You can take my gun from my cold dead hand. In every case through history, when genocide was planned, the firearms were gathered up and the opposition banned. The tyrants made distractions and the people looked away. And by the time they realized they couldn't get away, a lawman up in Utah by the name of Sheriff Mack said we've lost our Constitution and we've got to take it back. The right to keep and bear arms when the Bill of Rights was penned isn't there to hunt or target shoot, it's there to self-defend. There ain't nothing here to compromise, there's a line here in the sand, and you can take my gun from my cold dead hand. Take your globalist agenda and your new world order plans, and you can take my gun from my cold dead hands. What part of uninfringed do you not understand? You can take my gun from my cold dead hand. You get it? You'll get it. What's
Good
it?
job,
You're going to come
Dave.
for my gun. You can have it, one bullet at a time.
Good job. Good job.
Oh, by the way, I saw the website up there. It's
Yeah, we'll go ahead and put that up there real
it's
quick.
www.gulfwar, not ULFWAR. It's GulfWarVets.com.
It said ULFWAR?
Yeah, I think the G was missing, but I don't know.
It's been 7 years, they've forgotten.
Yeah, let's put it back up there. And if anybody wants any information about what Joyce is doing, right there it is. Go
And also information on this music.
Oh, yeah, there's a G there.
Yeah, there's a G missing. It's www.GulfWarVets.
Okay, he's going to...
And it's Gulf War Vets, plural, with an S.
Gulf War Vets.
This is a brand new computer generator, so they're having a little...
Okay, www.gulfwarvets.com. Okay.
All lowercase.
Right.
And I want to say to any of the troops that are out there listening that are active duty or that want information on the anthrax vaccinations, that's all on the internet site,
Yes.
gulfwarvets.com. Pull it down, get that information about how you can get a religious and moral waiver on the immunizations.
Right. Okay, I want to give you all, we've got about 2.5 minutes left in the program. I want to thank both Joyce. Thank you for coming on the Jeff Davis Show.
My
Dave.
pleasure.
Jeff, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much for this forum and this opportunity to get this music out here. It's the first time for me to get this thing on television. It gets very little music. I mean, excuse me, very little airplay, and I'd appreciate it if folks do a little investigation. We're not supposed to give out 800 numbers, so we're not going to do that. We're not going to give up. We're not going to do that. But if folks want to find the music, you're going to have to look for it.
Well, I'm going to incorporate some of those cassettes you gave me into some of my programming here.
That last song, by the way, called the Cold Dead Hand song, is not on the album, but we are making it available. So brand new.
Okay, closing statements, Dave. We've got about a minute and 20 to go.
Okay, well, I'd like Joyce to have the last word, but all I'm asking is, I know that some folks out there are hearing what I was saying and speaking about tonight, look at it as somewhat confrontational. Please understand, again, my philosophy is that we do not have a clenched fist. We offer an open hand. This information is freely available for those who are willing to take it. There are none so blind than those with eyes that will not see. And we ask only to look. It's not hard to figure it out. You don't have to be a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist to understand what the truth is. Common sense will tell you. Just simply look and understand that we are not the enemy. And as far as the military is concerned, we are not the enemy here. We love this country. We're standing up for the Constitution, and we will die fighting for the rights and for this Constitution. So that's basically all that I have to say. Joyce?
Joyce, go ahead. Final.
I want to say that I'm a nurse first. I'm a citizen that loves this country. That is the primary issue, the reason I'm here, and the reason that I have staked everything on this. Please understand that as a nurse, I want to see treatment for these Gulf War veterans. I've talked to over 10,000 of them, and I know they're sick. I know they're dying. And I now have been talking with their families and seen their horrible situations. Please understand we have no agenda other than wanting you to investigate this. And if you're involved in the medical profession, check out the Medline sites. Check out the computer and find out about mycoplasma. Find out about this disease. Because I can assure you that our troops are sick, they're dying, and if we don't come to the aid of our veterans, the government will not do it.
That's it, folks. I want to again thank my guests. I want to thank my fabulous crew here tonight.
Let's give them a round of applause.
Yeah.
That's right.
Good job.
God bless you, Austin, Texas.
It is the best and most comprehensive book on Bohemian Grove, and it's written by Mike Hanson, my old camera guy.
Mike Hanson Archives.
Did you ready to run?